Hey, welcome back, everyone. Welcome back to the Travel Media Lab podcast. I am your host, Yulia Denisyuk, an award winning travel photographer, a writer, podcaster, entrepreneur, community builder, and storyteller. So, today we are wrapping up our summer reading series, and over the past few months, we've brought you stories set in Jordan, Austria, Spain, and more interesting locations around the world that were published in magazines like Afar, Condé Nast Traveler, Vogue, and more. And if you haven't yet heard all of these stories, go back to prior weeks and take a listen. There are some real gems there that I shared with you, like, for example, a story about freezing my eggs in Barcelona, or one about the ethics of travel photography. So, we are going to take a short 1 week break on the podcast next week. So, there won't be an episode next week on Wednesday, September 6th, but we are back on Wednesday, September 13th with a big announcement that I just can't wait to share with you. So, stay tuned. And if you enjoyed this little break in our regular programming, if you enjoyed listening to the stories that I've been sharing with you that I worked on over the last few years, if you've enjoyed traveling to some of these places with me through these stories, do let me know. I always love to hear from our podcast listeners. You can share your thoughts by leaving us a review. Reviews always help a podcast get more visibility. So I really appreciate your reviews. Or you could also send me a message, or you can share the podcast on your socials. And if you do, don't forget to tag me so I can see it as well. So, the story I'm going to read to you today was just published this week in Robb Report. Earlier this summer, I went to the Pacific coast in Guerrero, Mexico, for a stay at Hotelito, a new hotel belonging to a project with a very intriguing name, Modern Utopian Society of Adventurers. I absolutely loved my stay at Hotelito, and it brings me great pleasure to share this story with you, out now on Robb Report, that captures this experience. All right, I hope you enjoy this story. Inside Hotelito, a luxe Mexican hideaway designed to give back to its coastal community. When I landed on a small airstrip in Zihuatanejo, a coastal town in the Mexican state of Guerrero, just south of Mexico City, it took me exactly 43 minutes to reach Utopia. The road meandered through the town's iglesias and carnicerias, stretches of farm and jungle land, and glimpses of chalk white salt flats at the end of a wide lagoon, before bringing me to Hotelito, a new 13-room beachfront property on a 177-acre stretch of virgin, iron-rich Pacific coast known as the Costa Grande. Hotelito is the newest addition to the modern Utopian Society of Adventurers, MUSA for short, a lifestyle project by Mexican architect Andres Saavedra and Canadian entrepreneur Tara Medina that also includes standalone casitas and residences for sale. For a decade before they started building MUSA, Saavedra and Medina have been creating communal spaces and experiences in Zihuatanejo and Mexico City through their experimental festival art and music platform called Loot. Saavedra first came to this wild section of the Guerrero coast 20 years ago and knew that, as he puts it, it was his dream property. The utopia here is not in the gently swaying palms or in the swell that attracts surfers from around the world, although both are aplenty. It's in the way things are done. Much more than a hospitality project, Musa is a mindset, bringing together people who love adventure and who also want to do good. Set in the coastal Loma Bonita area, the Hotelito experience starts at the minimalist lobby with an open air layout and organic shaped sculptures by Guadalajara based artist Joselo Maderista. Stepping into the poolside Alba restaurant, the heart of Hotelito facing Loma Bonita's iconic surf, I heard tunes from Herb Alpert and the Tijuana Brass spun live by Mexico City based DJ Davo Peñalosa as my body started uncoiling from months of living at high speed. There is no set schedule at Hotelito. The idea is to simply be, as my personal concierge informed me, adding, WhatsApp me with anything you need. This level of intimacy sets Hotelito apart. In many luxury resorts, service can be impeccable, but it's more difficult to feel rooted in the community. You can teach a lot of things, but you can't teach love, says Medina. There is a word we bring up often, convivencia. It's the idea of coexisting, sharing resources, and living in the company of others. This is our ethos. In my room, outfitted with an open air bathroom and an outdoor terrace where I made full use of the personal plunge pool, I found that communal effort in the custom MUSA toiletries by Mexican skincare brand For All Folks, hemp cotton robes by Mexico City based Descansa, handmade textiles from the nearby state of Michoacan by Candor, and custom made room fragrance by Isaskun Estudio Olfativo, designed to imprint the stay with hints of clove, frankincense, sandalwood, and musk. At Alba, I tasted Tiger's Milk Ceviche by Chef Rodrigo Serna, a Zihuatanejo native who also heads up a breakfast joint in town called Mole Negro. Chef Serna told me he's happiest when cooking for family. The 8 course extravaganza at his open kitchen chef's table experience was packed with flavors like tart distilled local tomatoes inside a scallop bowl and delicate cocinero, a Costa Grande fish sprinkled with salt from the nearby Las Salinas salt flats. But in addition to the sophisticated taste, the meal was comforting, akin to the ones I used to have at my grandmother's table. At breakfast, Saavedra and Medina, who reside at the property, told me that their aim was to impact the land as little as possible. Saavedra's design firm ASD oversaw the creation of tropical modernist exteriors and interiors with locally found materials like concrete, black terrazzo stone, and parota wood. Mexico City based Phoenix Farms helped create 2 on-site regenerative farms and a cooling rooftop garden. Initiatives including a freshwater biopool, compost and soil regeneration, and an artificial reef to aid natural reef habitats add to the list of extensive eco-conscious credentials. Hotelito possesses magnetic energy that makes it hard to leave the property, but if you must, there are a host of adventures to experience in the surrounding region. At dusk, I watched the newly hatched Golfina turtles find their way to the ocean as part of the daily release by a locally run volunteer program, La Tortuga Feliz. At Hotelito's adjacent site, Casa MUSA, a private agave tasting is a chance to meet Zayuri Jimenez, the female founder of Guerrero's Mano y Corazon Mezcal. Further afield, guests can shop for sweet and chewy coconut candy, dulces de coco, that are shipped from the nearby town of Huluchuca all over Mexico. Hotelita's surf instructors guide guests into the beachfront waves or host a day trip to La Saladita, where the world-famous left-hand break attracts both beginner and experienced surfers. With Hotelito, Saavedra and Medina intend to create something unique in the hospitality industry, a place that feels less like a hotel and more like a gathering of people united by a common cause. Before the first guest ever checked in, they sat down with key community members to ask how MUSA could support them. Sometimes you start adding things that are not needed, says Saavedra. Instead, we listened to the community and acted on their feedback. This kind of collaboration resulted in efforts such as adopting an existing reforestation program or installing fiber optic cable in local schools. We want to create a model community, one that is being built from the heart and takes care of everybody and everything around us, adds Medina. Half an hour away from Hotelito, a Mesoamerican archaeological site of Shiwakan provides some clues to this quest. According to archaeologists, Shiwakan, which translates roughly as the place of the people who possess eternity, was the capital for Guerrero's indigenous Cuitlatec people, their multicultural ceremonial center, a gathering spot for places as far as Peru, something of a sacred portal. It is no wonder then that this essence extends to MUSA. There is an energy here, says Medina. You feel it in the land. It is so strong that you feel the responsibility to not mess it up. All right, that is our story for today. I hope you enjoyed it. And if you did, definitely let me know. You can do that on social by sharing this episode or by leaving us a review. Thank you so much for listening, everyone. And remember, we are taking a short break next week and we will be back with new, fresh, and exciting season of our podcast on Wednesday, September 13th. Take good care of yourself, and I will see you very, very soon.